my darlings, I'm Sophie Darling and welcome back to the channel. Today we're reacting to episode 16 of series 2 of Apothecary Diaries, and Lumen has returned to the rear palace because Gyoku's baby may be breached. So hopefully the baby does turn so they don't have to do a cesarean, but if they do, I have faith that she is in the best of hands, the most capable of hands. Lumen is a very skilled doctor. He's very good at what he does, but I think this must be weird for him to be back. He never thought he would return, and then his daughter ends up going to the rear palace as like a weird twist of fate, and then now here he is, all these years later, back in temporarily, because I mean, technically, he is there to consult on her pregnancy. There's no guarantee that they would want to hire him. But then the question would be, would Lumen want to come back to the rear palace? Maybe he finds more benefit for his job in the pleasure district, helping the girls in the brothel, helping the local village. I feel like he probably gets more pleasure from helping those most in need versus helping the rich and wealthy. I think if he had a choice, he probably would stay in the pleasure district, even though he doesn't make a lot of money, because Mama has to keep reminding him that like he has to have money in order to eat and stuff, and he's very happy to give his services away for free. He wants to help people. He's very kind and benevolent that way. But with Lacan being the head of that family, Lacan is never going to see Lumen struggle. He's never going to see Lumen stuck for anything. So even if he did give away his services for free and never charged or took any money from anyone, Lacan would make sure that Lumen was in good hands. There's no way that he would watch him struggle and suffer and starve and waste away, because Lumen is his favorite uncle and he also raised Mau Mau. So there has to be admiration and respect there for this man stepping up when Lacan couldn't, because Lacan didn't know about Mau Mau. But Lumen was the father to Mau Mau that Lacan couldn't have been. So it's going to be definitely very, very interesting to see Lumen back in the palace, see what Lumen observes while he's here, what he examines, because he is Mau Mau, but like on crack. Mau Mau is very perceptive, very good at figuring things out, but she's learnt that from Lumen. Lumen's very good at gathering information and deciphering. He's incredibly intelligent, and his friend, the teacher, is also here, the one that taught Xiaolan and the other serving girls, and was saying to Mama, almost goading her, being like, oh, if Lumen was here, Lumen would have figured it out already. So then that like pushed Mama to be like, well, I have to figure it out now, because if he could figure it out, then I have to figure it out. So it's going to be fun to see what Lumen uncooks and deciphers while he's here, especially with all the assassination plots that are ongoing, or the intrigue. And yeah, Lumen's definitely going to highlight something I think that Mau Mau maybe has missed. Or maybe Lumen will say something that like twigs something in Mau Mau's head and she like goes, oh, that's what that is. I don't know. I still have the feeling that Mau Mau is not entirely safe this season. There's been quite a bit of foreshadowing, especially that mention of your favorite toys will be taken away. And I know it's meant to be a light-hearted jest, but there's just something about it that makes me think it's hinting that Mau Mau could be used as a way to get to Jinshi, especially because people have now seen Mau Mau with the crown prince. Yes, they don't know it's Jinshi because he's wearing a mask. He can't be seen. He's covered, but they have seen Mau Mau. So they know that Mau Mau serves the crown prince to some capacity, and therefore she is going to be a target in order to get to him, in order to manipulate him, in order to try and set a trap essentially for the crown prince. And that's my worry, is that she is going to be used in that way. And I think, again, it was a jest from Anshi, but I think Anshi is also warning him. This is what happens when you have a favorite and it's noted that you have a favorite. They can be used against you. So be cautious, be careful, be aware of your surroundings, and be aware of protecting those that you love and care about. Because if you're not careful, and you make it too obvious, someone has a way of getting to you. They have a way of making you weak. They have something to target that's going to impact you. They've found your weak spot. And Mao Mao is Jinshi's weak spot. And that's my concern. But without further ado, we're going to jump into it. We're going to see how the rest of the series plays out. I'm really not happy that I'm going to have to wait until like October for series 3, but we also have Frieren starting next Friday on the 16th. So I am really, really excited for that. I can't wait. Jinshi's pin! Is she gonna wear it? Oh my gosh, she is gonna wear it.
ほら見てごらんローメンさん。この子は賢いから小魚の頭と尾と腹渡は食べないんだよ。
She's so cute.
苦味が好きなんですけどね。
I love that like the Quack Doctor and Lumen are gonna be like besties. They're gonna be friends also. I also wear a hair stick because it's really, really good at keeping your hair, but these are like cheap ones and they tarnish, so I need to find like a better way of doing it. But like they're so good. They like secure your hair in a way that you don't even anticipate it. Obviously it's gonna look really messy because I'm doing it very like quickly, but ta-da! It's obviously messy, but keeps my hair in all day and it's a lot better on my hair than having like hair bubbles and stuff. So like I love having a hair stick in and it's just a lot less damaging on your hair. Sorry, I got distracted because I also now wear hair sticks and I'm gonna blame Apothecary Diaries for it because it got me really interested in hair sticks because they are like an old traditional way of putting your hair up and also a weapon. I believe that there are people that used to use these as weapons, that they used to be like knives tucked into the sticks that you could like pull out, which is really fucking cool. Obviously this is not a weapon. I mean, you could probably use it as one, but like it's not, there's like no sharpness to it. Like it's pretty blunt. So the show got me curious about hair sticks because obviously hair pins are talked about quite like extensively and their symbolic meaning behind them, but also they are ornate and worn. So I decided to look into it and I thought, oh, that's really cool. I want to try that. Hairpins, great. I'm trying to get a hairpin that looks like Jinshi's though, because I'm a nerd.
1を聞いて10を知る。親父はこの国の最高の医師だと思う。
Oh,
なの
I
に
love
花
her
町で貧しく暮ら
admiration
している
for
のは
him.
親父には欲というものがないからだ。
Because he's a kind, benevolent man.
ちゃんとグエンさんに断ってから使いなさい。
はい。
Like, don't just do something without asking for his permission. It's his office, not yours.
リファ様だ。次の子は無事に育ってほしい。
I do too.
そのために、まずは無事に産んでもらいたい。
Are we going to see them both give birth this season?
いっぱいの次女が多くて急に宮の雰囲気が落ち着いたってさ。
Oh, well, that's
経験
good.
豊富な次女が増えるのはいいことです。
高級は帝の子を産み、育てる場。なのにそれが機能していない。今の帝の子が何人いるかを考えれば改善すべきだ。
He has the people he wants to have children with, though. But it's part of securing his dynasty is having as many kids as possible.
で、気になるところをまとめてみたんだ。
どれどれ
Oh my god,
ローメンさん
Lumen.
綺麗な字を書くね。
そこかよ。
でもなんか子供っぽい文だね。
しか読めない者もいますから。
He's
なるほど。
kept it
これは次女や
understandable.
下女に読ませたいのか。
Oh,
どうか
Lumen.
な、見落としはないかね。
I love
足りてると
Lumen.
思うけど。
ではそれを安値で譲っていただくことは可能でしょうか。
うん。
Like a little notebook. He wants to like jot down the things he
最近手習い
sees.
所が作られたね。
うん。
じゃあこれを書き取り練習の手本にできないか聞いてみてくれないかね。
Oh,
生徒の手を借りて張り紙を量産するってことか。
they get to practice and he gets the word out, you know?
どうしてその才覚を自分の生活に生かせないんだか。
It's not about his life. He wants to improve everyone else's. He's just a very kind man. He has no greater ambitions. He's not deceptive. He's not manipulative. He just wants to help and benefit people.
やらないから。
Oh,
どうしたもんか。
she was so
先に手
eager.
習い所に行ってみるか。
Almost like catnip.
一応持ち歩いてはいるけど、前につけてみたら。
そのかんざし、園遊会で神子様にもらったものじゃない。急につけてどうしたの。
Everyone asks questions because it's a sign of his affection for you.
お
There'd be no denying or hiding it. His friend!
昔科挙の試験の時、あやつの字を真似ると受かるなんて言われて、皆で真似した。本官としての才もあったのに、道端の不老児が病気でかわいそうだから。
See, you know what I mean? Everything he does is for the benefit of others, never for himself. He's just a kind man.
年季明けの心配と若い宦官の話に夢中で、それどころじゃないようです。
若い宦官ね。
Wait, the young eunuch. Oh, it said there was someone that was like incessantly talking to the young eunuch. Was it Xiaolan then that was talking to her? Or like, because I thought it was Shisui. I thought Shisui was maybe passing information to Surei whilst in her servant guise. Could still be happening, but maybe Xiaolan's also been talking to the young eunuch because everyone's like besotted with how pretty they are. You know how I said everyone has a weakness? Mao Mao's friends are her weakness. So my worry is that Surei's going to use Xiaolan to get to Mao Mao in order to then use Mao Mao to get to Jinshi. Kind of like a two birds with one stone kind of thing. Like you get Xiaolan, Mao Mao will do anything for Xiaolan, and then you get Mao Mao, and then Jinshi will do anything for Mao Mao, and then you get the true target, which is Jinshi. I hope not. I hope that's not the way they're going, because Xiaolan doesn't deserve that. She just deserves to be able to go and live her life.
神樹様なら若い宦官をこき使いそうだ。
それで用というのは。
But Surei is also very skilled with medicine, so maybe Surei will stand out in the clinic.
あの時はローメン一人でやっていたから、つい私も手伝ってしま
Oh,
ったよ。
Lumen.
二人で高級中に貼る紙をひたすら書いて、ああ、ローメンが
What's
いか
Mao
んの
Mao
していた頃
clocked
だから
on to?
20年以上前だね。鉛入りの白いは使わない。強い香料は控える。高級なの植物を勝手に取らない。うん。内容はそこまで変わらないな。
Lumen was warning about all these things because of the dangers of them. So somebody's been gathering this information to then use and weaponize it in the future. Don't use whitening powder with lead in it. We saw that in series 1. Avoid strong scents. We saw that at the beginning. Don't pick plants in the rear palace without permission because some of them are poisonous, but also some of them can be used for concoctions for abortions. The reason Lumen is saying all of this is because the concubines could risk losing their babies. They could risk dying themselves. It's to protect them. But instead of protecting them, which isn't Lumen's fault, by the way, somebody has weaponized Lumen's advice and his words. They've gathered this information, they've hoarded it, and they've clearly passed it down or passed it on to manipulate. This is why the strong scents were known to cause abortion. This is why the lead powder with makeup was seen as like a trend in series 1, because likely it was reintroduced by somebody who was influenced to wear it. Trends pick up fast, everybody starts wearing it. Oh, and then Mao Mao was the one that recognized the plants, but Shin didn't know about the plants, but Shin knew about the scents. So somebody told Shin about the scents, but we haven't seen the plants come into play, not in the rear palace. We have seen them come into play outside of the rear palace with Surei, so maybe that's what they're inferring, but the plants technically in the rear palace haven't really come into, unless we're talking about the tea. We could be talking about the tea, because the tea, the jasmine bloom, is technically a plant. Somebody has hoarded Lumen's good intentions. And as they often say, the path to hell is paved with good intentions. Lumen has tried to do something kind, tried to help people, tried to ensure that everyone is safe, and not in harm's way by unknowingly poisoning themselves. He's trying to help them, he's trying to benefit them, and someone has co-opted that and weaponized it in order to harm the emperor's family and harm his dynasty. Ooh, what the fuck? But this also means this was ongoing before the emperor ascended, because when Lumen was a doctor, he delivered Anshi's baby. So this has been going on like way before the emperor ascended the throne. So it's not just the emperor that would have been targeted, but that means that this plot is like, oh, this has been incessantly happening. This has been a very long, thought out plan, orchestrated, organized. Like, it's crazy that somebody has like hoarded these notes from like 20 years ago and is now using them to try and bring down the emperor's dynasty. Oh, what the fuck?
これと同じものが。なんだこの違和感。
Because these are things that you've literally seen happen in the court lately.
親父は良かれと思って注意書きを貼ったはずだ。
And somebody's co-opted them.
逆に悪意ある者に害をなす者を教えることにもなる。あの当時の張り紙を知っている者。それは。
あなた非請求の。
You think she would do it? That she would try to harm the emperor and his family? Or maybe she unknowingly passed on information.
級の女官はだいたい2年が年季ですが、皆様長くいらっしゃるようなので。
Because
年間ばかりだもの。
they're not real palace workers. They're all girls the emperor has slept with, the previous emperor, aren't they? And they can't leave because of that. Oh, fuck.
他の女官たちもそれくらいの年で入れられた人。
Yeah. The previous emperor slept with all these young girls. And they couldn't leave. So this is almost like their sanctuary because they have nowhere to go. They can't go anywhere.
私たちは誰も迎えに来てくれないから。今もこれからもずっと。
Poor girls.
高級に、帝に、そして帝から寵を得る妃たちに。救っていた悪意はここにあった。
It's like a poison.
水晶宮の次女頭である真に堕胎剤の作り方を教えたのは。
But why would she want it to be found out?
あの病に伏せていた下女を使ったとしたら。
リファ様に移したくないんです。もしかしたら誤解にされてるかもしれない。
This is how they knew that Gyokyu and Lihua were potentially pregnant.
妊婦に害があるものだ。合わせると堕胎剤の材料になるものもある。きっとリファ様のためになるよ。
It never got to Lihua, it got to Shin. That's what the note
悪意あ
was.
る者に何が毒なのかを教えることにもなる。折よくキャラバンが来て、その材料になるものが売られていれば、手にしないわけがない。これまでのことすべてに関わっていたかはわからない。
But she's definitely involved in what happened with
少
Lihua.
しずつ高級内を蝕み、救っていたのだ。
But the babies are innocent.
証拠も証言もないし、曖昧なことは言いたくない。
I think it could be similar to Lumen, that good intentions have led to something horrible happening.
私にできるのは、診療所に救う悪意が他に及ぶ前に摘み取ることくらいか。
I can understand the resentment, but the previous emperor is dead, long gone. And yeah, that doesn't erase the trauma. But it isn't the current emperor that did any of this. He doesn't deserve the hatred or the resentment, and nor do his children.
ずいぶん立派な虫の図説ですね。
ああ、それもいつの間にか置いてあったのよね。
Shisui.
これは一月というと特使を迎えての宴があった後だ。
図鑑でしか見たことない虫がいっぱい。
でもこんな貴重な本、下女
Because it's not
るだろうか。
just Shisui, it's Lolan.
紙の帳面を使っていた。
Yeah.
それに字も読める。なんで下女をやってる？
Because she's not. She's masquerading.
そいつには気をつけた方がいい。
男にしては背が低く、
Surei.
女官たちが黄色い声を上げるのにふさわしい。
Oh, they've come face to face. Holy shit.
水霊。
相変わらず勘が働くな。おか
It was intentional.
叫ぶか。
She's bought
そ
and
れとも
paid for.
アルコールのとっくりを投げつけた隙に逃げるか。
余計なことはしない方がいい。動けば刺す。
Oh fuck. Oh no.
薬を使ってしばらく仮死状態になった影響が残ってしまったんですね。聞くと思いますか。
聞いてもらう。
Shisui.
死水。やっぱりさっきの図説の持ち主は死水。
What the fuck is going on? She's gonna use Shisui to get to Mao Mao.
何をすれば。
Even though
高級を
Shisui
一
is
緒に出てもら
Lolan.
いたい。
高級を出る。
できる。それに。
Oh, what the
お前は
fuck?
絶対私について
This is to get to Jinshi.
蘇りの薬。
Mao Mao,
作
please.
り方を知りたくない。
Mao Mao. You know this is a bad idea. But what choice does Mao Mao really
宮
have?
中には東西に2匹の獣がいる。つまり大尉。軍部の高官である羅漢が東の狐。
Lacan is
先天の代
back.
からの重鎮であり、四北州を治める師匠が西の狸である。
この後茶でもどうかと思いまして。
I'm so glad to see him
せっかくの機会で
return.
すから師匠殿もご一緒にいかがかと。
付き合うと言っておられます。
では中庭にでも参りましょうか。
What are you up to, Lacan? Daughter's about to be kidnapped, though.
銀牌を用意しました。毒味の必要はございませんぞ。
美味だと言っておられます。
I love that he doesn't speak, so even his voice can't be recognized.
先日四北州で王帝の暗殺未遂がありましたでしょう。その
Mm-hmm.
調査で面白いものが手に入りましてな。
What did it turn up, Lacan?
フェイファの設計図。
Where did you get
これ
this
が何
from?
かご存知ですかな、師匠殿。犯人たちが所持していた凶器です。
Was it found on his
そうですよね。
estate?
裁縫の最新式のようでしてね。
Okay, so he had the schematics drawn.
ええ、大量に作ることができれば戦がガラリと変わるでしょうな。
I've
より
missed
陣
him.
形も取れるし移動もしやすい。王帝の命を狙うような不届き者が持つとは。
They must have
あ
rich
やつらはどうやって
benefactors.
これを手に入れたんですかね。
Shishu. Oh, it's a political mind game. He knows. He knows it's him.
それを調べるのもそちらの役目でしょ
He's playing it down, but he knows.
加減を間違えたようで何も喋れなくなってしまいました。それで何かそれらしい話を聞いたことはありませんか
I
な。
think he's playing a mind
師匠殿。
game to get him to
う。知って
talk
いること
more.
があれば当に報告しておるよ。
He's pretending to be this like mild-mannered man, but there's more to him than meets the eye.
これは昨日作っていたごの寄付でしてな。
そういえばご結婚されたのでしたな、ラカン殿。
ええ、そんなことまでご存知でした
Oh,
か。いや、
Lacan.
切れる妻でしてな。ほら、ここで
Ah,
なんとか避け切ってもまた次の一手で攻めてくる。
he's such a lover boy.
俺は
失礼だが、仕事があるのでこの辺りで地層になりましたな。
I feel like part of this is a ruse to get Shishu to leave so that he can speak with Jinshi alone. Because he obviously knows who the Crown Prince's real identity is.
針の杯に注ぐと赤が映えますぞ。
It's not red.
確かに美しいですな。
でしょう。あなたとは話が合いそうだ。妻の話などぜひゆっくりしたい。
Served in a glass cup, it really brings out the red. Shishu's descended from the Mother Royal. He's inherited the trait of colorblindness. He can't see that it's green. Fuck. Okay, so he's like directly linked to the Mother Royal, which means he probably thinks he has more right to rule, that he's more destined to be in that position because of the genetic trait that he's inherited. Holy shit. But that's just proved something to him. It's a coup. It's a coup. They want to overthrow and replace with their family line.
このジュース、珍しい色をしているだろう。
どう見ても赤ではなく緑だ。赤と言われたのに、師匠殿はなぜ
Because he's
何も話しなかった
colorblind.
の
He's descended from the Mother
正直
Royal.
言った通りだ。うん
Just like my uncle said, Lumen has told him about it in the past.
人がこのように私も見張っておりますので、ご安心を。
Holy
よう
shit.
やく覆面を外せる。
I'll do it.
上げ底の靴というのも疲れるものだ。何、東宮の身代わりなどそうできることではない。楽しませてもらったよ。
Where's Jinshi? His own mum
狐が
pretending to be him.
普通に見えた。
軍師殿にかなう方はそうはいません。
That's hilarious. This is why she didn't speak, because she wouldn't be able to hide her voice.
その娘の件で対応に追われているのだろう。宦官人士殿は。まさか。
Because she's missing. Jinshi's gone looking for her. Like I said, she's being used to get to Jinshi. Called it. I fucking knew it. I knew it. I knew that she would end up getting fucking kidnapped again. What did I tell you guys? The foreshadowing was evident from the fucking beginning. From like early episodes that something was going to happen to Mao Mao and that Jinshi was going to then come running looking for her. The fact that they let him go running looking for her is insane because he's going to fall right into what Surei wants. Are we going to learn if Shishu and Surei are connected? They have to be, because Shishu is behind it all. Shisui is Shishu's daughter. Surei, I think, is also Shishu's daughter because they look alike. They behave very similarly. We now know that Shishu is descended from the Mother Royal. He's from that branch, meaning his family has royal connections at some point in the family line. He believes that he has more authority to rule, and that's why he's doing all of this. It's a coup. It's to overthrow the emperor and his dynasty and replace it with his own, who are just as connected to the Mother Royal as the emperor's family is, because they all descend from her, because there's different lines, there's different generations, because Shishu could have descended from like a sister that had the genetic trait that was then passed to him, so he could be connected through like a mother or a grandmother. We don't know yet, but we do know that he's connected to Mother Royal because he's colorblind. We know that Lolan is Shisui. We know that Lolan is in on what her father's doing. We know that Surei is also part of this, and we now know that the woman who had the festering resentment towards the previous emperor because she was a child used and abused by him and was never allowed to leave is in on it too. She's been bought and sold. And I did say that there were going to be people here that could be in on it, manipulated for whatever reason, because they are resentful, because there's internal friction and tension that could be manipulated. I didn't realize she would be in on it though, but it makes sense that she's harbored the notes and the information that Lumen had put up around the palace in order to like help people and be good intentioned, and she's weaponized it because of her own resentment and her own anger towards that imperial family. And it's really annoying because the current emperor has nothing to do with his father's actions. But again, trauma acts in weird ways. I'm not justifying what she's doing. I'm just saying that I can understand it because trauma is strange. Trauma makes you behave in ways that you didn't necessarily realize you would behave in. And I think because she knows that he descends from the loins of the previous emperor, and she can't harm him, but she can harm the current emperor who descends from him. She can't harm the children that descend from him. It's her way of getting revenge on this whole entire system that has exploited her, has used her, has trapped her here long after she was deemed of use. So I can understand why she was easily co-opted into aiding in this. But I love that Mao Mao was trying to be really cautious because she didn't want to shut down the clinic, because she knows how beneficial it is, how good it is to have this place. So even despite knowing that this woman could be involved in harming the emperor and the emperor's children, she is trying to give her the benefit of the doubt. She has no evidence, of course, which is why she can't speak on conjecture, because there's no confession, there's no actual proof, but she is still mindful that she can't just accuse her of something without having all the facts. But to accuse her would result in the clinic being shut down, would result in all these women likely being condemned by association, even if they had no idea what was going on. But the festering resentment from the previous emperor and his mother's rule has led to this coup against the current emperor and his descendants. This is insane. I knew that something was going to happen to Mao Mao. I knew that she was going to be what was used against Jinshi, but now I feel like Shisui is there solely as bait, that she knows that that's the only way that they would get Mao Mao to go, and the resurrection medicine, but I don't think that's the only reason. She's played on Mao Mao's loyalty to her friends, Mao Mao's care for Shisui, even if Shisui is not who she appears to be. And I think Shisui knows that Mao Mao cares about her, and that's why she is conveniently there to be used as a way of manipulating Mao Mao into going with Sure and baiting Jinshi into tracking her down. Jinshi must be like out of his mind and so worried. But that also makes me wonder, does Lacan know that Mao Mao's missing? I don't think so. I don't think he knows, because he didn't seem to recognize that Ao Dua was masquerading as Jinshi. He probably suspects something's up and that Jinshi may be not the real Jinshi, because Lacan's not a fool. But I don't know if they've told him yet that his daughter's gone, because I feel like if Lacan knew, he'd be on a fucking tirade. He wouldn't be resting until he found her. He's not someone you mess with lightly, and I think that's something that Shishu's going to learn very shortly after all of this takes place, that it's not as simple as he makes it out to be. I wonder if Shishu is the true mastermind, because Shishu seems very mild-mannered, and I don't know if that's just the impression we're supposed to get of him, or if maybe he has been puppeteered, because we keep seeing this idea of women puppeteering men for gain and power and advantage. We saw it with the previous Empress, and potentially I wonder if we could see that again with Shishu, if perhaps Shishu's being puppeteered by someone else. And with how soft-spoken Shishu is, it makes me kind of wonder, like, is there someone else pulling strings? Someone that's like put the idea into his head that he would be a better king, whispered this influence to him to the point that he now believes that is now his idea, his plan, but it was never his idea, his plan to begin with, but someone else's that knew he was descended from the Mother Royal. Because again, this idea of puppeteering, women puppeteering men for power, is something we've seen with the previous Empress. And that's not to say that the theme will reoccur, but it's just the way that Shishu is very, again, it could be an act, it could be designed to be deceptive, but he's just very sort of laid back, very soft-spoken, very quiet. It almost doesn't seem like the same Shishu that we saw in series 1 interrupting his daughter's introduction and being like, what can we improve? He seemed a lot more confident, a lot more authoritative there, unless it is an act for Lacan, like he's playing his own game, that it's like their own chess match essentially against one another, and he's put on this guise so that no one perceives that he's actually a snake, that he's manipulative in trying to undercut the royal family. But it could also be both. It could be they work together in conjunction, but the fact that we now know how Shin learned was because the note was given to the servant gave it to Shin learned about it by extension. It wasn't directly told to her, it was just on the note of what Li Hua should avoid, which was coincidentally what Lumen had put up to warn people 20 odd years ago. So she's hoarded this information, this knowledge, and weaponized it when the time was right. And here's me defending her, giving her like the benefit of the doubt, being like, oh, maybe it's like Lumen, like good intentions and all that, and it's been co-opted. But then I was like, but why would she do it? But trauma works in mysterious ways, and that resentment and that anger, you want to exert it onto the nearest person possible. If you can't exert it on the person that hurt you, you're going to do it on anyone who is connected. And in her mind, the whole royal family is doomed by association. They're all a part of that system, that structure that ruined her life and ruined the lives of all these young girls that were brought in at the age of 10, deflowered, and never allowed to leave, that were trapped here. So this is her way of like destroying it all, bringing it down from the inside and replacing it with Shishu, who would be no better, because we know that Shishu procured most of those young girls because it was told that like, oh, more young girls are arriving to Anshi by Suren, her head lady in waiting, and it said that Shishu had procured them. So Shishu was actually the reason a lot of these young girls ended up here, and it wouldn't shock me if Shishu is the reason she ended up here. Was she then the young servant girl that Anshi saw him putting his hand on? She can't be. She looks older than Anshi. Hard to gauge her age because she looks so much older than Anshi, meaning she must have likely been brought here like way before Anshi was, because there's a massive like age disparity between the two of them. Unless like this is just an indication of the difference of life experience. But if we think back to the organizer of the ghost stories, she looked quite young as well. She hadn't aged to the same extent. So I'm not entirely sure, but obviously this has been ongoing for years. There were many girls before Anshi that were impacted by the previous emperor, but this clinic offered a sanctuary, a way for these girls to find a sense of home and community, but it's also allowed that anger to fester and that resentment to grow. And now they want to destroy the system from the inside. And Shishu has capitalized upon that. He's manipulated her and her anger for his own gain, for his own benefit. Holy fuck, this is insane. I can't wait to see how this goes because Jinshi is going to be on the warpath, and I'm so glad the Khan's returned. He's such a lover boy for his wife. It's so good to see him. And he's like, look at my wife. Look at all these things that we've done and played together. And look at all the games. She's outsmarted me. I'm glad to hear that they are enjoying married life and they're happy together. Oh, it's just so happy to see him return. As soon as I saw him, I got so excited because I've missed him. Oh, also, what consequences does this have for Gyokyu? Because what if Gyokyu goes into labor while Mao Mao's away? Oh no, she might go into labor from the stress. I hope not. Also love that I'll do a return to be like, yeah, I'll pretend to be Jinshi while Jinshi goes and does what he needs to do because that's my son and I will do whatever it takes so that he can be reunited with his love. Oh, this show is so good. But I think that's all I want to say for now. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this react, please consider liking, subscribing, and leaving a comment below to help boost this video into the algorithm. And until next episode, bye.